Hey everybody, what's good? It's the Tominator here. So in this video today, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the 2018 Arnold Classic, more specifically about the best and biggest surprises of the show. So I'm going to be featuring three bodybuilders that I haven't even mentioned thus far, and the first of which is Lionel So these are guys who really exceeded expectations. They did much better than I thought they would going into it. And yeah, when Lionel came out in prejudging, I was just like, yes, man, finally, this dude nailed it. He looked really sharp from the front. But unfortunately, when he turned around, it was a bit of a letdown because from the rear, he wasn't as good. He was especially soft in the hams and glutes, and that's really what prevented him from placing any higher than he did. But he was able to secure a top 6 finish. And in this stacked lineup, that's really quite an accomplishment and a step in the right direction for Lionel. So I'm really happy for the guy. I'm glad to see a physique like this in the top call-out because this is what needs to be, front and center. It needs to be in the spotlight. We need to see more aesthetic physiques like this with tiny waists, and instead of all these bloated bellies winning shows and stuff. So, in my opinion, Lionel is actually probably the most aesthetic bodybuilder in the game right now. Really, I would put him above Cedric even because his waistline is better, it's tighter. So if you were to just trace an outline of this guy's physique, I mean, his structure, his silhouette, his shape is second to none. So this guy is a genetic freak. He's got muscle bellies for days. He's just very pleasing to look at. He's got such roundness to him. So the conditioning is really the only thing that's holding him back. Of course, he could use a little bit more depth and thickness in the back as well. But hopefully that'll come with time. I think he's still rather young, but you got to keep in mind this guy is he's a big boy. He's like 5'11", almost 260 pounds, they said, and yet he carries all his mass as if he's like a 230-pound flex wheeler. So he's definitely got aestheticism in spades. And I was really happy that he was able to place as well as he did and finally get some recognition. So was it the best shape that he's ever brought? Probably not. I feel like he's probably, he's won some shows in the past where I'm sure he's looked a little bit sharper than this. But this was definitely an improvement over last year and certainly from the Olympia where he was very off. So it was definitely a step in the right direction. I'm glad to see him doing as well as he did. All right, so this second guy is Steve Kuklo. So this guy took some time off from the sport. He hasn't competed in a couple years, I believe. I'm not sure what he was doing, although I do know that he was on Shark Tank, I believe in 2017. Him and his wife were promoting some sort of spandex pants for women for the gym, make their booties look good or some crap like that. But anyway, he's back on the stage now, and this may very well be Steve Kuklo's best shape ever. I'm not entirely certain about that. I'd have to go back and take a look at some of his past performances, but he definitely stood out to me and looked a lot better than I remember him because his conditioning was just spot on. He was really dry. He had that kind of hard, grainy muscle. It was reminiscent of Branch Warren actually because he doesn't have the best separation or the most pleasing muscle bellies. But he's just got that gnarly, granity, vascular type muscle. Just looks very dense. I know this guy trains pretty heavy, so I've seen a couple of his workouts videos. But yeah, so he's a strong dude, and he looked really good. The reason that Steve didn't place any higher, he finished 5th, by the way, so he wasn't that first call out, and he was one spot ahead of Lionel But the reason that he doesn't place any higher, I think, really comes down to a couple things. Number one is the back. He needs a little bit more pop and polish in that thing. It just looks a little bit flat in certain poses when he turns around. And the legs as well, I think, could be a little bit more, have a little more sweep to them, perhaps, a little bit better separation. But there's really not a lot you can knock on the guy. I think that he really brought it this year. He looked really good and a lot better than I was expecting him to look. So that's why I'm featuring Steve here, and he gets a shout out. Okay, and this last guy right here is a bodybuilder who I had never even heard of before this competition, and that is Justin Rodriguez. And when he came out here to do his posing routine, even Sean Ray was saying that he wasn't familiar with him. And after all, Sean Ray does this for a living. He tours around the world commentating on various bodybuilding competitions. So if he wasn't familiar with the guy, I feel no shame in admitting that I wasn't either. So Justin kind of came out of nowhere and made his mark here at this show. Because he finished in 7th place. He was just outside of that top call-out, and I feel it was a very deserving finish. because he was big, he was well defined, and he had excellent development in the upper body, especially in his back, and we'll see that right now. The real knock on the guy, probably, and the reason why he doesn't finish any higher, is the legs could be a little bit bigger to match that upper body. But look at the Christmas tree right there. And then when he flares out his lats here in the lat spread, he's wide as hell. The shoulders and arms are also very well developed. So again, I just feel like it's the legs. He needs a bit more sharpness downstairs and a little more size to go along with that massive upper body. And the waist as well is a little bit on the blocky side. I'd like to see it a little tighter. But that's really all I can complain about with this guy. So it's always nice to see a fresh face, a newcomer, someone like him to just kind of pop out of the woodwork and give us a pleasant surprise. So that's what he did. He made an impression on me. So that's why I'm featuring Justin Rodriguez. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I just wanted to kind of showcase some of the less heralded names out there, but guys who I feel deserve some recognition nonetheless. So stay tuned for more, everybody, and thank you for watching. As always, I'm the Tominator signing off, and Al will be back.